The objective of this evening is to highlight the aims, the ambitions and the achievements of the Street by Street project, a very worthwhile cause indeed. It would be remiss of me not to publicly acknowledge the work and the effort of all of those in East Belfast Alternatives, and not least of which is Andy Muirhead, the organisation's project manager. The enthusiasm, the commitment shown by the organisation right from its inception, and the capacity of those working with the organisation has really paid dividends for the area. Focusing on the areas youth and community engagement, parent and victim support, community mediation, and building a culture of volunteering, and building community capacity and skills and collaborative working in East Belfast. Our Alternatives has grown in that stature and within the local community, and working alongside and in partnership in many ways with the PSNI. I think we've all found the benefits of that. I can say personally as an MLA, I have never asked them to do something, to make contact with folk, to address an issue that they have not done so with a degree of enthusiasm that is second to none.
From the beginning, it has to be said and made clear that the Street by Street project was, and still is, a community engagement project. It's not set up to replace local policing, and it's not set up to order young people off the streets. It was brought about to help local people resolve local issues and attempt to address the low level and nuisance behaviour which is most concern within our community. Including established and well-known community organisations as partners in Street by Street has created a model which is recognised and respected by all those working to address antisocial behaviour, not just within communities but within the wider statutory bodies as well. And the growth of and the inclusion of local people as volunteers was and is an essential element in addressing this anti-community behaviour which sometimes blight our communities.
It's about talking to these young people and saying to them, what are your problems? There are perceptions out there that all young people are involved in antisocial behaviour, and as we talked earlier, it's only 1% of the population. But why it works is, it is members of the community who have acknowledged issues within their community and want to do something about it. And it works because you've got people who are out on the street who care about young people. They care about their community and they can engage with young people. These people are out there because they're committed to working in their own areas. And we are delighted with the partnership, the people that we work with the businesses, with the PSNI, with the local churches, everyone working together. We hope and we can see there definitely is a difference.
I'm a volunteer Street by Street because as a mother of a young boy, I have concerns about the dangers for young people growing up in my community. Being a volunteer for Street by Street has totally re-educated me on exactly what dangers are out there in this modern day society, especially drugs and alcohol abuse. I have now acquired the skills to engage not only with the youth but all members of my community.
As a local resident, I feel reassured, not as a volunteer, that Street by Street is working in my area. I am confident that the members of the community are making and will continue to make positive changes in our area.
Street by Street model isn't just about addressing antisocial behaviour, addressing crime, addressing neighbourhood disputes. It's about building the capacity of local communities. There are 50 volunteers now with qualifications that they didn't have 2 years ago. There are 50 people who really are invested in their community and not only interested in young people, as Joanne said, but interested in the elderly with a fear of crime, interested in partner organisations, and it's that community cohesion, I think, that is at the core of Street by Street.
PSNI and I were first made aware of Street by Street as a volunteer project back in 2008. Bloomfield and Beersbridge areas of East Belfast were blighted with high levels of antisocial behaviour, and were becoming the classic hotspot problem for policing and indeed for community. And it was because there was that level of real honesty in communities and a recognition that actually the solution to the problem lay actually in the community, that the community started to come together and build, and it's in that context that Street by Street was really born. Very quickly we identified within the police service the benefits of Street by Street. The first thing that we saw, and we started asking ourselves some questions about this, was we saw a reduction in levels of antisocial behaviour. And we asked ourselves the question, what is making the difference? Well, what was making the difference very evidently was the work of the volunteers who were out there tirelessly in all weathers, at all times of the day and night. And I want to take my hat off, to use that phrase, and acknowledge the huge contribution that those people have made to their community. There is no doubt that they've made East Belfast a safer place. PS and I will continue, and I personally will do all that I can to strengthen the hand of those communities that want to help themselves. And the Street by Street initiative is, for my money, a class-leading example of how a community can really help itself.
I'd like to invite Baroness Newlove up to say a few words. I know many people have said tonight it is an honour to have you here, Baroness, but we truly mean that. We just learned tonight that this is the Baroness's first visit to Northern Ireland, and her first visit is to experience a project that is based in a disadvantaged area of East Belfast, but a very, very powerful project. So I think those of you tonight who are part of Street by Street in whatever way should feel very, very proud about that. And we, Baroness, are very, very proud to have you here. So I'd like to invite you to the podium to say a few words.
For me to be standing here is not something that I ever thought I would have to do. And listening to the stories and the volunteers is heart-rending, because I did exactly what you do. We had lots of antisocial behaviour where we used to live. Then, unfortunately, I walked home one night and I said to my neighbour, nothing will be done in this area till somebody is murdered. Little did I know that would be my husband, Gary. So in 2007, on Friday evening, there was a gangs of youths outside our home, and this was 10 o'clock at night. And our neighbour next door, with a young baby, was on her own and was having her garden renovated. So there was a mini digger outside. And the first noise that we heard was breaking glass. I wasn't very well, and I asked Gary would he go out, as he always did on a Friday, because we did have this all the time, to see if Amy next door would be okay, because her husband was away in Scotland. Little did I know that Gary would never walk through that door again. Gary went out barefooted, shorts and a t-shirt, with my 3 daughters. Amy was 12, Danielle was 15 and Zoe was 18. He went out there to ask one simple question to a gang of young men. His question was, who's damaged my wife's car? Because I heard them kicking my car. And with him asking that question, he was kicked to death in the head. He received 14 kicks to the head and 14 internal injuries. He was on the ground within seconds. That was in front of my 12-year-old. To have your 18-year-old have to pull his tongue out to try and save his life, for my 15-year-old to have to do first aid, and for my 12-year-old to have to come in screaming to tell me and collapse at the bottom of the stairs, is absolutely disgraceful. So that was how my life has changed. And it's a journey that I struggle, but I put a brave face on, not for me, but to protect anybody else from becoming a victim, and anybody else whose husband or whoever walks through the door never returning in them circumstances. My girls were the main witnesses and had to go through a 10-week court trial. In that 10 weeks we had Gary's birthday, my birthday, and we had Christmas. This Christmas was the best Christmas we've had in 5 years, and I'm really proud to sit around the table with my 3 daughters who get out of bed every day and try and do the best they can, because they are proud of who they are and they're proud of their father. Unfortunately, they will never see again. So that is who I am. All my friends don't recognise me because they thought I was the mouse in the corner, because Gary was very social, very was really good. But for me, to sit in a courtroom and be goaded out, and to be swore at, and actually have to sit still and not show any emotion, was enough for me to say, enough is enough, and let's see what can be done. I really cannot wait to see and learn at first hand from the work you have been doing, and to watch and listen to everybody this evening. I'm really excited. Your focus on young people, on turning around behaviour, on building pride and respect for your local area, on supporting victims. These are all issues that really fascinate me and which I feel strong about. I am a firm believer in local people. They step forward, taking control of their own destinies. The professional agencies have a huge part to play in the partnership, but there is really no substitute for communities themselves, seizing the initiative and the buzz they create. Local people have an unmatched insight for what is really going on in their area, an unmatched passion for doing something about it. Street by street, as the title says, he so rightly puts it. What I've listened to everybody, partnership, volunteers, the young people and the elderly people, all working together. One word was said here tonight: you complement one another. And you don't speak about yourselves, but you know what? I'm going to speak about you when I go home and in my report. I would love it in your words, because people need to know that you are trying to make a change. You're not sat in an armchair complaining, you're doing something. And I'm really honoured to sit along you today, and thank you very much.